Hello and welcome to episode 25 of the Hoop University podcast. Not the Ohio State style. Quick intro today. This is the draft special that I alluded to on our last episode. The beckon was successful. We got Chuck on the pod, so you're not getting the casual diehards today. You're getting the half court trap, which is the combination of Chuck and myself. Peppered in a couple names at the end that are worth mentioning. Walk through draft picks 1 through 10. And we also got Chuck's mastermind of a rebuild in about 48 hours for the Dallas Mavericks. That was his offseason wish list. So you're going to want to hear that. You want to hear all of it, get familiar with some of these prospects and plays that are bound to happen in this NBA draft, which is a few short days away as of this recording. And as always, before we begin, don't forget to like, follow wherever you're listening to this podcast: Spotify, Apple, YouTube, Google, Amazon, your buddy's account. And also be sure to leave us a rating. It does a lot for us. Now, without further ado, let's talk some hoops. With T minus 2 days till the do 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 doom do do doom doom doom. Is that bad or is that the NFL?
No, that was pretty good.
That was
pretty
it.
damn good.
With the first pick of the 2023. Watch out, Mark Tatum. I'm coming.
Watch out, Adam Silver. He's got first potential over here.
We have who's not just a draft guy by any means, but he is my resident draft confidant. Who we've had some good conversations with as the years have moved on. He's been right about a couple things, a few.
I've been wrong about more.
But he's also my guy, one of my best friends. What's up, Chuck?
What's up, Darrell, man? Thank you for having me. I always appreciate you making some time to speak with me, and it's always great just to catch up a little bit.
Yeah, man. This is the closest I get. You and Shiv, I still somehow like have some Texas zip code active at all times.
Always.
Checking in with one of you guys. Eric, you know what I mean? So what are you feeling like right now?
Well, first of all, I had to make an appearance after you and Shiv put out the freaking bat signal like that and called me out last episode.
After you were beckoned, like
yeah, summoned.
You were on a golf course somewhere. You were enjoying life, and Scotty had to be like, "Hey,
man, I was relaxing. I was having a great Monday, and then I just get this carrier pigeon at my apartment, and it's a picture of Shiv photoshopped over Scottie Pippen pointing at his shoes.
And I'm glad because this could have happened the easy way or the hard way.
Yeah.
And this was pretty fluid. So Wemby's going number one. What do you think his rookie stat line is going to be? And then we'll probably get up right off of Wemby.
Ooh. I don't know. I think a lot of it kind of depends on how many minutes he plays. I think it's probably going to be like if I were to guess just what his per 36 is going to look like.
The per 36s might be nasty.
Yeah. Well, I think he probably plays about 30 a game, but
in the range.
In my mind, those per 36s are probably looking like 23. I think he's gonna be a little bit passive on the offense from the start, but he's gonna convert at a high rate.
23 though.
23. 14 boards. And then maybe like 3 assists. But what's really gonna be ridiculous is it's gonna be like 5 blocks. It's just gonna be some buffoonery. It's gonna be unheard of.
I am not too far off. I honestly think that for recent memory, Blake Griffin's maybe the last rookie big to go crazy I went. That's a big gap. So I probably went
Yeah,
over somebody, but he did what 22-10 or 22-12,
something like that.
and I want to say had the Ben Simmons year. He had the redshirt NBA year, but
Yep.
I don't think that 20-12 maybe set like you said though. The per 36 is going to be in the 20s. If it's 17, that's perfectly fine because that team has more, seasoned guys already, and they have other
Well,
players who
I
are going to
mean,
score.
what's San Antonio's rush? Like, unless Victor is so otherworldly that he's gonna make you, a contender and a playoff mainstay from day one, I would slow play it, right? I mean, you definitely want him to get his body right and get adjusted to, any additional or different physicality than what he's seen over in France.
If I had to guess, I'll finish the stat line. Yeah, I think it'd be like 17-11 in like three
Yeah.
and a half blocks, realistically. But yeah, if you're San Antonio, I could see them getting off to a pretty darn decent start. Maybe through like 20 games, and then you see the organization pump the brakes.
I don't know. I mean,
And however that may play out, but maybe I was high the first time, we were talking about them just on my expectations, but I couldn't, we're with each other on the same page of like, hey, I'm not going to say you're crazy if they're in the play-in.
so I mean, sure, but I mean, the West is really good, and even more specific than that, that division is really good. I mean,
Yeah.
Houston's
I
not
also think,
talent.
I think very highly of Houston next year. I do too. I'm an
Well,
optimist. That's my problem. That's what yeah,
at
it
a
has to
certain
balance
point,
out.
they're gonna have too much talent to not at least be. They're not gonna be a team you want to play. And then you get Memphis, which starting game 26 is not fun. And then you get New Orleans, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a little bit here.
Yeah, very soon.
It could be scary.
So well, let's we'll see you. The last thing on Wemby is that according to some source that I was happy to see on Twitter, didn't see a ton of it. He may be playing a summer league game, which is all I'm asking for.
I mean, like, sure.
I just want to see, and I think he's the type to be like, let's do it. Maybe let's do it. Maybe one. I think the organization's like, I'm pretty curious as well. Like, let's just kind of see a glimpse of this in against his peers, or not his peers,
I
not
mean,
even, but like, let's just see it with the Spurs jersey on, and what do we feel?
yeah,
Let's see 3 quarters. Come on.
I don't know, man. I personally, I could not care less about summer league. Maybe he plays, maybe he doesn't.
Yeah.
It'll be entertaining either way, but it's not going to be telling regardless.
No, yeah. I just want a glimpse. I want the preview. I want the preview to
That
drop.
I
That's
get
it.
that.
So at the top, man, um, betting wise, Scoot Henderson was in the plus 150 range about a week ago to go number 3 or to go number 2. He was about plus 150. And apparently I haven't been crazy on the lines, but apparently that's swung to like minus 120, 130 or so in the past week to where he's trending number 2.
Yeah.
And I think that some of that is a lot of teams feeling the pressure of, whoever number 3 is going to be ecstatic to get Scoot if they get Scoot at number
Yep.
3. So it's some of that and the variability of we don't even know who's taking them at 2. Because do you think Charlotte is holding on to that and is taking Miller instead? Do you think they're
No, I mean,
considering Scoot, Zion? I don't know.
I don't think you're not going to get. I think it essentially boils down to: would you rather have Brandon Miller or Brandon Ingram,
Well put.
and or Scoot? I mean, but if I'm Charlotte, that number 2 pick is pretty darn valuable, and I would look to trade it. I think their overall priority um, for this draft or this offseason, or depending on what look you want to take on it, is to get the sidekick for LaMelo and somebody that can come in and at least begin to contribute right away. And so off that, it's really what are your internal valuations of Scoot or Brandon or somebody a little bit later in the lottery versus players that you already know and go up against an NBA.
I don't know if you got to hear some of my Hornets opinions, but I think I wouldn't be surprised if they're good next year because the last full season from LaMelo and Miles Bridges, they were 2 games over 500 and they've made play-in appearances again. So it's like they're not trying to just figure out how to play for the first time ever as like a core.
We'll see. I mean,
I do you think either like that fact? Do you feel anything like that? Do you think that these guys are just way at the bottom looking up? Because I think this last season
no,
was just a
they'll
lost
be
season.
they'll be competitive in the East, right? I mean, they were competitive last year. They were competitive the year before. Um, but
Yeah, and none of that matters really.
there's 30 teams. They can't all be good, right?
Right.
Like at the end of the day, there's going to be at most 7 teams that you think are going to have a viable shot to win the title come March.
Yeah, no, we're not talking that. We're not talking that. But
like if you're saying they can make the playoffs, like sure they can make the playoffs. My thing is what the point if you can't win the title?
Yeah, I guess the question is, do you think that Brandon Miller long term is worth having over Brandon Ingram right now?
No, but I think there's
not really
alternatives, whether it be Scoot or whether it be just trading the pick.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm focused on Brandon Ingram because I've heard them linked to the Pelicans, and I saw something that said they would prefer Brandon Ingram over Zion. Cool. I don't get that, but cool.
Same. No, I say that to say I agree with you. Just kind of throwing everything out there because we're kind of going to walk through like picks 1 through 10 is kind of what I'm feeling. So okay. I do agree. I think I don't know. It's a tough decision to make, honestly, right now, right there, because you want to make the right trade, and what exactly is the right trade? And if that's the case, let's take the prospect that could be good, pretty darn good, in not that long a time. So would you take Scoot instead? No.
So I mean, if you're just talking about board, like Scoot is the second best player in this draft to me, by a clear margin. So I don't know, and I mean, I honestly think at least one of 2 or 3 gets dealt.
Same. I can't wait. I think it happens that day.
So yeah, for sure. A team that I would keep an eye on is Orlando to move up and grab Scoot because they just they need a point guard and there aren't a ton of them in this class.
Orlando could exchange assets in some way, whether it's their picks right now or a player or 2 with Charlotte, and that make a lot of sense for Charlotte.
Yeah, I think so too. Maybe Miami. I just they get rookies from nowhere to come in and play big minutes right away. And so if you're taking somebody that you feel is ready for that step developmentally, but has way more skill and talent, it'd be great to see what they could do in the Miami culture. And then maybe Toronto. What's going to end up being the price that gets it done for OG on both sides?
I was going to say OG and some picks.
Yeah.
OG and some exchange of picks.
Like, if I'm Charlotte, I'd rather have OG than Brandon Ingram, I think.
OG right now for where he's at for the next 2 years, 100%.
And if you can get some picks or a pick back from them, and I mean, I don't know how that all work or look, but those are just 2 or 3 teams I think could move up into those top 3 picks.
So that would put Portland on the clock at number 3, unless they dealt it. I don't really envision them moving the pick if Charlotte does move the pick, because then maybe just take Miller. You got him. Just take him. Maybe you do still. I don't know. We don't know what's going on with them and Dame. I think Dame's on the move this offseason, in that both sides. You don't get the reporting of both sides being open to it or willing to it, even if that's just the last statement of the entire statement, the last sentence. That's what you're getting at. And I think it's going to happen maybe sooner or later. By the draft, probably not. I don't know. I think they're waiting until the time is right. It doesn't feel like the time. I don't know what time they're on.
What reason is there to keep him beyond the draft if you're going to move on from him? Right? Because at that point, you're admitting a full rebuild is coming. You've already got Simons. You've already got Sharp.
Well, you could still if you're keeping the pick, then you can still keep your guy.
Right, but why not move off from like, what kind of ransom could you get from? I mean, you get several of Charlotte's picks.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, hey,
You
I
get
agree.
you could
I
get
agree. You can walk
you
away
could
with
get
Miller and Scoop.
you get half of Houston's war chest.
Yeah. Well, we'll be on pins and we'll be on our toes, because I think it's happening this offseason. Like, I don't think he's playing there again. And you make a good point. What are you waiting for then? This is, time to make a move. This is when we do that. So we'll see where that ends up. But you have Miller as third on your board. You don't think anybody else is in that? Nobody else is.
I think Cam Whitmore's in that range, and I think Amin Thompson is in that range as well. There are other guys like I would put Bilal Koulibaly. I don't think there's as big of a gap between Miller and the rest of the pack, I guess is the best way to put it. So like for me, it's Vic, and then it's Scoop, and then it's probably 5 or 6 guys in that 1A, 1B, 1C tier.
I think that I would be taking Brandon Miller, but I need to see a little more. I'm going to watch a little more Cam Whitmore. I get he's ready physically. He'll be ready physically, and he has a good feel for the game.
Yeah, I mean, there's some things that scare me. Like, I wish he was a little bit more of a willing passer in some situations, and I wish his 3-point stroke looked a little bit smoother. But I mean, the floor is really high, and he'll be a high motor, competitive guy from day one.
Yeah, he's not small out there.
No, and I think that's a lot of the buzz around Jarris Walker as well, and why so many teams.
I love Jarris Walker
for
that reason.
I think he probably
that's a big guy out there.
I think he probably goes to Detroit at 5 unless they just really love Taylor Hendricks. But I think their whole priority needs to be getting like a functional 4 to play next to Duran.
At 4, you would be probably putting a man in Houston.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't.
Well, that's been the presumptive, pick for them.
I guess their thing is,
do you see something better?
No, I would be.
You could do a lot.
I would be cautious of drafting a developmental project to Houston because I don't necessarily think they have a great track record of developing young players recently. And it seems like everything on their staff and front office has been in flux for the last 5 years or so. So, I mean, if you think Amin's ready right now and they can compete and play right now, great. But he can't shoot.
Problem.
Like, and if your number one objective is to potentially bring James Harden back, he's gonna need people around him that can catch and shoot.
I think Harden's not happening anymore. I did a little. I bought the smoke a little bit, like a week or two ago, and now I'm off.
But if you're Houston and you think it can happen, and that's like what you're trying to pursue, then I mean.
Well, I think are you with me? I love Şengün. Love him.
Yeah. He's great offensively.
Yeah. So you've got, seems like for now, Jalen Green could be a part of a superstar trade, like of assets on Houston's side, but I think that he's going to be there for a couple of years. So it's like you figure you've got, I don't know, they've stockpiled a lot, and they're going to be adding one more to the pot at least until they make a different move. So
we'll see. I think they take him in, but I really don't know. I mean, and I couldn't fault them if they went in a different direction because, I just don't really know what's going on behind the scenes over there.
Yeah. Talked about Detroit.
I think they need just a functional forward that can play next to Duran, because both he and Wiseman kind of clog up the paint and need a lot of
there. You're good on the interior.
Yeah. So I mean,
reinforcements.
That's got to be Jarris Walker or Taylor Hendricks in my mind. I mean, you could look at Cam Whitmore if you think he could play the 4 long term, but I think you want somebody.
They would have to be careful about getting guys who can't shoot also, because at least as of now, Killian Hayes is still getting minutes.
Yeah.
And he
And
kind of earned those minutes last year.
I think that's part of the appeal with Hendricks, even though Walker is like, the more functional, logical pick there.
Do you think Jarris Walker is really going to be hitting threes next year, like pretty consistently?
No.
30%?
No.
Not even?
I don't think it's going to be a huge sample size.
Yeah, okay. Because that's one of the weird things, because the college three is such a makeable shot in comparison to shooting an NBA three in the flow of the game, not to make the college game sound juvenile by any means. But it's like, yeah, you're shooting a different three ball in the NBA. Yeah. And he was hitting some, and I was like, okay, hold on, he's doing this, but that would take some time for that to maybe translate. Could, if he was comfortable enough to, add that to his game at the college level. I don't see why he wouldn't add that to his game at the pro level if he's that kind of guy. He's in the gym. He's, both sides. So I'm high on him. I see a lot, and that doesn't have to be a part of his game right away by any means. But yeah, maybe. No, I don't think that's the case for Detroit because they've got the size kind of already. Maybe more so for Indiana. I really like him for Indiana if he were to make it there.
I could see that. I think Cam Whitmore's a good fit in Indiana, and I think Hendricks is a good fit in Indiana. So we're kind of the same mindset, talking about similar players for both spots.
So you've talked about Hendricks a little bit, but not Anthony Black yet. Would you, if those two were the top two on the board, that's you're rolling with Taylor Hendricks? Talk to me about this guy.
I mean, I think it really just depends on what you need. I really love the maturity Anthony Black plays with and his feel for the game. He's a 6'7" guard from the Metroplex, from the DFW. He's a menace on defense. Yep, he's a menace on defense. He's got good passing instincts. I'm not convinced that he's going to be a lead guard or like a one at the NBA level, but I think he can guard 1 through 3. He's going to cause a lot of havoc on defense, and he's just a good team guy that you want to have. Good athlete too at 6'7".
Yeah, interesting because these are some of the. There's so many of the guys who were within 6'5" and 6'7" who are kind of combo guard forwards.
Yeah, well, and it's also interesting too because we're talking about like positional need and stuff. And between Detroit and Indiana is Orlando, and they probably need just ball handling and shooting, right? I mean, like that's in my mind, they need somebody that can kind of help to run the show a little bit, and that's why I think they would be such an interesting team to watch for trading up for Scoot. If they do stay at 6, I could see potentially Anthony Black there. They're also a front office that can kind of come out of left field with their picks sometimes. So maybe a guy like Kobe Buffkin out of Michigan.
And talk to me a little bit more about. He's not. His name hasn't ran off on the pod yet, and I don't want to butcher it. But our international fella in this draft, Bilal.
Yeah, Victor's teammate Bilal. I'm gonna fudge it up too.
And then I spoke on top of you saying it, so we'll get some variation on wax, and then we're going with Bilal.
Yeah, well, it's Bilal Coulibaly, I believe.
There it is.
I hope. There it is. Knock on wood.
There it is.
So we're just gonna stick with Bilal, meaning no disrespect. I'm a big fan of his game.
Right. I think he goes. Very familiar.
Yeah, I think he goes top 10. He's a plus athlete. He's young. The mechanics don't always look great on the jumper, especially pull-up jumpers. But the touch is there to suggest that, with time and training, you can maybe develop a little bit on that. He's got a wiry frame right now, but looks like he probably bulk up. Plus length on his wingspan, so somebody that will have, defensive versatility as well.
How are his highlights next to or how some of his game next to Wemby? Like, do they share the court much at all?
Have you ever seen? I don't know specific stat lines, but I think they both play a good bit. And Bilal was actually, again, like on ball and off ball defense, both are calling cards of his. He's a good slasher, good cutter, and I think being in a situation where somebody like Victor just draws so much attention, he's the type of cerebral player that's going to take advantage of that and find opportunities where they normally wouldn't be.
Random callback to last year, and we'll move along, because I was just wondering, I was like, is there any way San Antonio could maybe trade like something else and like steal one of these picks and like would want to just put him next to Wemby again in the pros?
Sure. I mean,
But
they could finagle that if they wanted to. I have no doubt.
but what do you think of Jeremy Sohan?
I think he'll be a very useful player for San Antonio, especially next to Vic. Like they both have a good bit of defensive versatility, um, and so I think you're just giving something that's going to be really interesting to see is San Antonio's acquiring a lot of like bigger, lengthier, rangier athletes than they've typically had in the past. And it's almost just like giving Pop more tools to kind of work with and tinker with. And, if they ever really get it right, they all hit the stride at the same time, especially with Vic going forward, could be really scary. Again,
How high of an overall in 2K are we talking for Jeremy Sohan one day? Like, are we talking like 86, like 84, 85?
I mean, he could be like a Draymond, right? I mean, I don't
That's
see.
kind of the mold he's in, I guess, right? It's
And
like,
obviously Draymond's a hell of a ceiling. We're not saying he's going to have that kind of career, but like if you're talking about what he could be down the line, like that's probably in my mind best case scenario.
yeah, economy version. Fair enough. Moving on. The Washington Wizards, I don't know who, they're eyeing or what direction they want to go.
Well, the good news is they need everything, so they can just take the best player available.
So they got a good one by all accounts in Kispert last year for sure. For if they hold on to him and they're able to put a functioning team around him. He seems like he was a good pick last year.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll see. I I mean, they're really stripping it down to the studs. It seems like.
Honestly, hats off to them for getting Bill's contract off their books one way or another.
Hats off to Beal's agent for getting that MF signed in the first place.
He deserves it much more. He deserves it.
My
That man, dude, he won't have to ask for a thing ever again. I can't imagine. Um, so yeah, Utah's at 9. They'll I saw Sexton is available
so
today. They were in
I,
some trade up discussion. Even they've got a ton of picks.
yeah, they do, and I mean, sure, they could trade up, and that would be something interesting to watch. I imagine Scoot would be the target at that point. Um, but really, if I'm Utah, I'm probably just trying to pair another defensive ace to go with Walker Kessler and just kind of build off of Havoc. That kind of seemed to be part of their MO last year, and then just letting Laurie cook on offense. So for me, whether that's somebody like Bilal, or whether it's somebody like Kassan Wallace, I think
Yeah,
either of those guys would be a really good fit and pick for Utah at 9.
yeah, low key market, place where guys could go and just you know do their thing for a little bit, and they could build if they want to do that under the radar for another season or so.
Yep.
And that puts us at number 10, man, which will just open the floor. Like this is your ISO,
Oh boy.
because that's where the Dallas Mavericks currently sit. And I want to get your Dallas offseason wish list in along with this, because the pick is a part of that, whether the pick is an asset or a player out of this class. I don't know what the read is. If I had to guess, I say if they didn't make their mind up kind of already on something bigger, they're just going to pick somebody here.
We'll see. Or,
And then this is where I don't talk for like 5 minutes.
or you want to open your mind and come on a journey with me?
I'm listening. Oh, and before you get started, the last time we talked, we were like on the same page of how, yeah, it seems like Kyrie's Dallas's guy now. And the next week, Kyrie just like has been in LA ever since. And I don't want that to happen either. Still.
Yeah.
So we're still on the same page, but Kyrie is entered in limbo as he tends to do. Kind of, maybe not.
Who knows
Here
what
you go.
Kyrie's going to do? Love to re-sign him if he wants to be back. If he doesn't, very dumb decision by our front office. But hey, part of the game, and I'm glad we at least took a risk for once. My ideal offseason scenario looks a little bit like this. We're going to re-sign Kyrie. Well, this is not in chronological order, but just get that out of the way. Draft day.
Penciling
Yeah.
in the max.
Yeah.
Hopefully a little less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Draft day. Back to happy thoughts. We're gonna take that 10th pick and we're gonna send it to Brooklyn.
Okay.
We're gonna give them a little cap filler to make it work too.
Right. You got options.
We're gonna take back picks 21 and 22.
21.
Along with our dog, Dorian Finney-Smith. He's gonna come back home. And we're gonna get it going.
That's it. Not like
No,
like
I'm not done.
Okay, all right. Not Cam
after,
Johnson too. I thought Cam Johnson might be in that. Like
I don't want to get greedy.
Okay.
So after they take Grady Dick or whoever they'll take at 10, pick 15's of it's going to come on the clock. It's going to be Atlanta, and they're going to pick up the phone and say, "Hey, you know what? I really want to get fleeced by Dallas on draft night again." And we're going to say, "We got you, boo. What's up?" And they're going to say, "We really want to get rid of John Collins. We'll give you the 15th pick if you take on his contract." And we're going to say, we just had Christian Wood. That's really not going to work for us because, he's just more expensive, Christian Wood. So how about we send you Tim Hardaway Jr. and you're going to send that 15 pick back to us, but Clint Capella is going to bring it.
Hold on. What's that?
We're sending Tim Hardaway Jr. They're sending us Clint Capella and 15. 15's a sweetener to get off the Capella contract to free them up. We'll send them some future seconds or, whatever to make the deal work.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe one of 21 and 22 or no?
Absolutely not. They don't. Okay. They didn't earn that.
Okay.
So now we've got 3 picks, 15, 21, and 22, along with Dorian Finney-Smith and Clint Capella coming into Dallas. Pick 15, Derek Lively. Come on, big dog. Let's get after it.
I'm with you on the Lively train. You got me.
I'm
on board. I'm on board behind you.
I would take him at 10 if we don't do anything, I guess. Pick 21. Hey, Chris Murray. You seem like you were maybe built in a lab to play next to Luka Doncic. How would you like to come to Dallas and shoot like 8 open threes a game?
And then we wouldn't need Cam Johnson. That's what he would be doing.
And he's got a little bit more
right
to him, can play the 4 a little bit better.
Right.
Pick 22, Colby Jones. Come on now.
Yeah, how you feel about him? I don't know how to feel. After 16 on the big boards, for me, I'm like, okay, I got name value does a lot for me now, but yeah, in between, you tell me.
He played at Xavier, bigger guard, probably like 6'5", really kind of controls the game offense. He rebounds well, he distributes well, he's a decent shooter, and really gets after on defense.
He knows how to play. He came from Xavier. They play some basketball over there.
And so I think he's got a little bit more positional versatility than you would expect from somebody 6'5" because of how he rebounds the ball. So we've got 2 other young kind of swing guard guys in Hardy and Green. And he kind of blends what, he doesn't quite offer as much as Hardy offensively. And he doesn't offer as much.
He plugs in a gap, or if one of them are out or something, like adds to your depth. And if I'm following you correctly, if you were to, reinforce the front court with a Derek Lively and a Capella, right?
So only one of them will be on the court at the time, right?
Just roster wise.
Yeah. We've been starting Dwight Powell at center for years.
For a long time.
Years of my life.
Dare I say, he's had an era. in Dallas.
If we stay at 10 and we draft somebody under 6'6", I'm setting something on fire.
Yeah, no, man. So they would be checking a lot of good boxes if they were to do that. Also on Dallas, what position would you want Luka to play? It doesn't matter. It's the beauty of it. I get it.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I want him to have the ball in his hand on offense, and I probably want him guarding the 2 or the 3 on defense.
Okay. Same. I would have I don't want him as just a point. I want him to have the ball, but be the 2 or the 3. Right.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't need to initiate every play, but I do think like 80% of the offense needs to run through him as like the crux of the play.
Of course.
Whether it's coming off the pin down or initiating.
Now, where does this leave you in your offseason master plan?
I mean,
that's the draft. That's the draft.
Yeah, right, like MLE, I guess. We're probably capped out with Luka and Kyrie at max, and
Who's next on your on the payroll for after those contracts? Who else is up there? Getting off of Hardaway Jr. it'd be about time.
Yeah, but we're taking back at least as much money with Capella.
We'll take it.
Yeah, right. I mean,
maybe.
So
yeah, hey man, I dig it. If is there a pie in the sky big swing that you would want them to, that you think is even on the radar, or like say Kyrie doesn't come back and now we've got more flexibility, something else?
If we could get involved for OG somehow, whether that's like
maybe
some combination of picks and THJ or THJ and Hardy and a combination of picks, I don't know, but a lot of this also hinges on Kyrie coming back, because if he doesn't, we really do kind of go back to square one. And then it's like, okay, we need bodies. Like, we need people who can play the game of basketball.
Yeah, we need starters.
Yeah.
We need to figure out who's starting. Yeah. So,
right.
Jaden Hardy or Josh Green, who are you higher on? Who would you rather hold on to?
I think Hardy depends what the rest
I'm biased though. I'm biased with Hardy. So
no, I lean Hardy.
Hey, I'm happy to hear that.
I haven't seen, like, Josh Green's a great passer, but the rest of his offensive game is very suspect, and I just haven't seen a ton of improvement or development on that side. I mean, Hardy's smaller, and he's probably always going to get picked on or bullied a little bit on defense, but you can kind of hide that or mask it if he develops enough offensively.
I don't know if this sequence comes right to mind, but Austin Reeves kind of checked him at one point, Josh Green, and that did something to his image for me.
I can see why that would resonate.
I was like, all right, come on now. Man.
None of that stuff's gonna happen, by the way. Like, we're gonna stay at 10. We're gonna take like Grady Dick. I'm gonna lose my mind. And it's just
That's funny, man. I don't know what's gonna happen either. I said that at the top of that. So I will be tuned in and waiting for something. You're hopefully waiting for something as well.
Well, yeah, for sure, for the draft overall. But just my last thing with the Mavs is that I've seen our front office spoof it so many times that I have no expectations. I mean, the bar is on the floor. Like, I would love for us to do something productive, but
yeah,
here we are.
Yeah, they've got 2 days. I looked at my wrist and watched over there.
Non-existent watch.
It's I'm looking at it. Some guys that I'll just run off. If I even remember anybody else, I didn't write these ones down. Trayce Jackson-Davis. I thought that he wasn't in this class because nobody was talking about him.
Trayce Jackson-Davis?
He is, right?
Yeah. I think he probably goes in the 30s, early 40s. I mean, he'll be a productive player. He's a great college player. I just don't think he doesn't have the size to be an everyday 5, and I don't think he has the versatility to be a stretch 4 or, a small forward.
Do you think he'll be much worse than Obi Toppin in 2 years?
Probably not.
That's all. I feel you.
Right.
So yeah, no, I'll be watching some guys where I'll just be interested to see where they land. Amari Bailey.
Yeah. No, I think he's really helped himself quite a bit in like the pre-draft process, just playing in combine games and some of his interviews and things like that. I always thought UCLA was kind of a weird choice for him. Like he was so clearly a very talented offensive player. And I know he stayed home with UCLA, but Mick Cronin runs a very defensive-minded, gritty program, and so that's encouraging for me. Just seeing a guy kind of get out of his comfort zone for college, maybe, and really put an emphasis on the things that he did need to improve.
Yeah, yeah, and then he had an impressive combine.
Yep, absolutely.
So, who's my guy from South Carolina? GG
Jackson.
GG Jackson. What's the MO on this guy?
I don't know, man. Like he's as talented as you'll see, but I think there are definite questions and issues with his maturity. There have been some not great stories floating around about some of his pre-draft process, decision making, and being out of shape. And I
He
want
was
the
like
best.
he was another Imani Bates. His name is mentioned, but he was another like top of the recruiting class, right? Like
Yeah,
coming
so
out.
he was actually committed to North Carolina, #1 player in the class, and then
Wow.
reclassified up and went to South Carolina, which is the state he's from. And the whole team was kind of lackluster this year, so he definitely didn't have the year he was looking to have.
His claim to fame kind of is am I wrong? The other guy in the Brandon Miller game, like the guy on the other team.
So the weird thing, I mean, his kind of claim to fame is being more of a hometown hero in South Carolina. I mean, their whole pitch to get him to stay was, "We want you to be like our Jadeveon Clowney for the basketball team. We want you to be our Aaliyah Boston for the men's team." Like, so they
Asia
really,
Wilson.
yeah. Sorry, I butchered that.
No, yeah, no, but
But I mean,
just another. I threw another one, yeah,
I
in
was gonna
there.
say both accurate. The
Yeah,
pitch was Asia Wilson, but both are her.
we'll see. Okay, Imani Bates, is he getting drafted? I think he's getting drafted. He's getting drafted,
He'll
or he falls all the way because we've seen that happen a
Hey,
couple times.
you'll definitely get to watch him in summer league.
We will.
Which I know you're thrilled about.
I'm gonna mosey my way into that gym
I was gonna say,
whenever he's
are you gonna be live in person?
when he touches down. Oh yeah, dude. It's just a matter of which days I'll be there, and
Okay.
in what capacity. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm gonna spend some time there for sure. And hopefully shake a hand or two, say what's up, and vibe. And there's an NBA con this year.
What?
Have you heard of this?
No.
It's literally NBA con. And I just saw an Instagram ad for it. So here you go. It worked. Algorithm, SEO. But it's the same weekend. It's July 7th to July 9th. It sounds kind of nuts. There's like open gyms. There's like open gyms. There's runs. There's podcasts. There's athletes.
Who are you dressing up as? Who are you showing up as?
There's sneaker drops. I might have to. Damn, that's a great one. That's a great one. My first one is I'm pulling up as Lamar Odom, but I don't know if not. I'll put some more thought to it and surely not appear as Lamar Odom.
Yeah, have a second thought on that one, bro.
I'm joking. That was a great question because that's the thing, right? I know that nobody knows this because I saw this and I'm like, this is not real. What is this? So that week is going to be interesting.
Yeah, I bet.
Victor Wembanyama's confirmed.
You might get to, depending on how serious it is, you might be able to shake more hands at NBA Con. On the media side,
could be jumbo shit popping. You know what I mean?
And that might be like the best way to get at people.
NBA Con may be the move if you're hearing this. Let's link up at NBA Con. I'll try and get a booth.
It's like the Venice Beach runs, but it's just pot offs.
That's hilarious, dude. Last man standing gets a contract. Oh, that's hilarious, dude. Man, shout out to Omar. He said the Lakers should take Jordan Hawkins. I'm probably here with that. 17, take Hawkins. Why not?
You think he's still there at 17?
If he is.
It'll be interesting to see.
I saw Bilal in a different mock maybe a week or two ago, and it seems like things have changed since then too. So I don't know.
Yeah, I would be very surprised.
The Lakers, what's funny is they don't draft horribly. In the past 5-6 years, they really don't draft bad. They just don't keep the guys. Like, look at,
too. That's the best.
Look at this great track record you have.
They're like,
they're just not here,
and then ship them off.
None of them have got a second contract. So I don't. Like, we're always in win now mode.
What investment level can you even have in the first round at this point? You probably even tune in until Mark Tatum comes on,
dude. So hey, if we're able to get Hawk here, let's do it. Sure. If not, hey, I might be down to go get what's the big? You think the big will still be there? Sonoma?
Who?
The big from
Dog, did you just invent a player?
I did. I know I did. I'm a dad. I get to do this.
Dude, he'll be. I don't know if he goes first round or not. I think if you're really looking to get it big, you'd probably look at somebody like James Nagy. Plays for FC Barcelona, I believe.
Is that it's not Zeke's brother, is it? I don't know. Okay, cool. You got a good shrug from a good shrug and some Espanol from Spanish right there. Ladies, this is your guy. Oh man, that's it, dude. I don't know. I think that's it, bro. Because the off season's drunk right now. We don't know what's gonna happen. We're getting mixed reporting every day, so we got to ride the wave till the draft.
Yeah, man.
Get some actual moves, and then make it to July 1st.
It's gonna be really cool to wake up Friday morning and just see how wrong we were about everything.
Yeah, let's try and talk about it, I suppose.
Except, hey, Vic's going 1.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, I'll tell you that for free.
Subscribe to my Discord for bets for my picks. Let's get out of here, dude. Good stuff, brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me, man. I know we're rambling at this point, but great to see you as always, and looking forward to the draft.
Touche, my brother. It's gonna go great with the beat playing behind us.
Oh, absolutely, man. All right, you take care. Give little man my best.
Out of here.